Right, I think we are recording now. Thanks everybody for hopping on. You are here for the Upskill 2026 information session. We'll give a quick overview of all the sessions. We're lucky enough to have a couple of students who participated over the last couple of years. They'll share a little bit about their experience with each of the tracks. We can answer any free questions at the end as well. And then the application will actually open about an hour from now and be open for a couple of weeks. So anything to add, Hilda?
No, that's correct. Exciting to start seeing some applications.
My name is Chris Riddell. I'm the Director of Career Advising and the Advisor for Students in Tech, and I'll be leading one of the tracks, but we'll get to that in a second. Hilda, you want to introduce yourself and then we'll get
Yeah.
rolling?
I'm Hilda Leaf, and I'm the Industry Advisor for Business Consulting, Finance, and Marketing.
Fun fact, Hilda and I both worked here, went work somewhere else, came to our senses, and came back to work at Wellesley a second time because we love this place so much. So
That's
thought
right.
you might like that. All right. Um, So what is Upskill? As you can see, it's a 1 week experience on campus. They're all going to be on campus this year. We'll get to the slight difference in one of those in a future slide. And really the goal is to give you some hands-on experience and start building your skills in those distinct areas. You can see the dates there. Those are all set. I think the important things are that it is completely free. So we're not charging you anything for the program. And we also take care of the housing costs. And then which of course covers some of the meals on campus. And then we'll have a few in there uh, throughout the week as well. Hilda, what else do you have to add about what is Upskill?
Mm, Upskills are really, I think you'll hear from others that Upskill is also a great time for you to connect with some peers from different grades, different class years, different interests, and those relationships continue even after you finish Upskill.
I think the thing that comes up quite a bit is how competitive is Upskill. I can tell you that all the tracks are competitive. Since the first year, we always had more applications than seats across all tracks. You can always apply for a different track next year, even if you do one, this coming year, or if you don't get the one you want, you can again apply again next year. So I know those come up quite a bit.
All right, so we'll kick it off with investment banking. It's one of the tracks, and just to give people a little color on like what happens during that week, what is it? It's a little bit of a lot of things. You get 2 days of intensive boot camp taught by Wall Street Prep. They're a training firm that really focuses on finance. And so you'll get a variety of different modules within that. Like I said, 2 days. They do a really, really nice job of sharing sort of what the various really important things that you need to know for technical skills to be able to enter into that market. And then we spend another 2 days getting to know people in the industry, as well as working on doing a stock pitch. And then on the last day, we do a trek into Boston and we visit a couple firms. Within those firms, you have an opportunity to present, to also get to know them, to hear their experiences, and that's how we close out the week. It's open to all years, all majors. You don't need to have any experience to be able to do this. So if you're interested in investment banking, this would be the track that you apply for. And we have two former Upskill students from last year. Here's a quick snapshot of all of the group from last year, but I'm gonna ask if Nadine, if you want to go first, if you want to just share a little bit about your experience, maybe like Christopher had said, sort of a year ago, what would do you wish somebody would have told you about the program?
Excellent. Yes. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Nadine. I'm a sophomore this year, and I participated, like everybody said, last year in last year's investment banking upskill track program. And if I was talking to myself a year ago, I would not tell myself to change anything because I was really excited for the program. I didn't really know what it entailed, and I think that's completely okay because especially if you have sort of any idea or no idea what it's like doing finance, or what even is finance, what does that even look like. If you have sort of any curiosity, if you have any curiosity and any passion, then I would say that this program is certainly for you. I knew nothing really about finance and the industry before this program. And so I I didn't have I didn't have anything on my resume that said like finance, business analyst, business consultant, or something like that. So it wasn't my past experience that I feel like really sort of helped me get this opportunity, but it was really my passion and dedication to like really learn about this industry and really take full advantage of this opportunity. I think that I would, if I had to talk to myself last year, I would like encourage myself to do it, do it, do it, do it. Because one thing that's really beneficial about this opportunity is the in-person aspect. Because something that's really important in investment banking and finance is that network. And so the fact that this program helps you build the sort of earliest stages of your network in finance is just really sort of invaluable. And there are still some professionals that I met at last year's event that I am still in touch with, and sort of am still asking questions to, and sort of networking with, and trying to learn more about the field and everything. And so just getting just the time, the face time that you get with professionals, the fact that you get to go into the office in the financial district and you get to dress up and just go sort of see everybody and stuff. It's like I've sort of felt like giddy or a little nerdy because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is real. But it's really valuable to have this opportunity. And I will say the days are tiring because they're long. I think that that's an intentional part of the program to try and simulate what it would be like in investment banking, right? Where there's just so much demanded of you. You can sort of kind of always have to be on. But I will say at the same time, this was from my perspective, a very safe space to like recognize that, oh, this actually is not for me. And so it's like there were mixed feelings across the board from people in this program who were like, wow, this is my jam. This is what I want to do. Right. That's where I fell. But I had friends in the program who were like, wow, I love it. I respect it. This is not for me. Right. But we were still able to learn from the experience, absorb a bunch of transferable skills that we could take on to other places. So whether you're super curious and don't know anything, or know a little bit and really want to boost your skills, um, apply and check it out. Yes,
Thank
so
you.
that's my, yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Nadine. That was wonderful. Actually, it's a perfect segue into introducing Nikki, who's also part of the investment banking track. And she can tell you a little bit of what she got out of the program.
Yeah, just a brief introduction of myself. My name's Nikki. I'm a junior. I double major in economics and data science. I applied to this program with some prior knowledge in the field of finance. I took managerial finance at MIT. I was also the mentorship program coordinator of Redefine Her Street. But other than that, my experience with finance has been sort of limited. I have not had a, investment banking internship, or like Nadine said, I was not a business analyst or anything like that. But coming into this, I feel like I've absorbed so much, um, especially on the technical skill aspect. And like Nadine said, unfortunately, I am one of those people who found that investment banking is unfortunately not the job for me. But as I step into other fields that I'm exploring right now, especially economic consulting, I realize how much of it is transferable. So, for example, I'm applying to, you know, um, economic consulting jobs that may be focused on finance. And in those jobs that, the every day we still need to build Excel sheets, we still need to look at valuations, we're still looking at what are some of the economic impacts when two firms decide to merge together, and whether that is a good choice or not. And I think, a lot of these questions can be answered, or you will learn the skills to answer these questions from this program. So if I were to, tell myself one thing while I was participating, is really try and absorb as much of the technical skill aspect I can. And the expert that we brought in from Wall Street Prep was extremely patient, and he is super beginner friendly. You could ask him any question about, his background, or whether you're a good fit, or if you do like made a really, really kind of like silly mistake on Excel, he's gonna like hold your hand and guide your way through that. And another part of it is really the in-person aspect. I don't think I would have imagined, going to the JP Morgan or CG office if not for Upskill. And I think these are really like the best way for you to realize whether this is a career path for you or not. Getting to talk to the analysts, and also some of the, I think, management level people, you really know what the day in the life is. And I think it just provides you with so much information for you to decide if this is the best thing for you or not.
Thank you, Nikki. That was really, really great to hear too. All right, so thank you both ladies. We are going to now move into the next track. All right, so for those of you who are interested in the entrepreneurship track, this track in particular is designed for students who are really either they have an idea or don't have an idea of something that they'd like to start up, which is great. I really think it's more about the entrepreneurial mindset, because that is something that you will, whether you work for yourself or you work for a company, you will always have. And I find that that's pretty translatable across the board. And so what will happen? So you're going to do a lot of things. The person who actually kind of leads a lot of the program is an entrepreneur themselves. So they'll give you a lot of ideas, structures, foundations, understanding of how things work in a startup and the kind of skills that you might need. There's an opportunity for you to think through an idea and sort of the ideation process, as well as you go to MIT, you go to the Rue Institute in Maine as one of your like day trips. You go there in a site visit, and that place in particular is kind of like a bit of a startup innovation lab space. And so it's really, really cool to be in that environment and soak up sort of that the energy that they have for the work that they do, because that's something that you can also take forward moving into the future. So with that said, you don't need any experience. And like I said, you don't even need an idea for a startup. But I do believe we have somebody from the previous cohort with us. So I'd like to introduce Maha. Maha, would you like to share a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. Just an introduction. I'm Maha. I'm a senior. I study computer science and I'm minoring in economics. Fun fact, this program was so groundbreaking for me that I joined We Start, which is an entrepreneurship society at Wellesley. And currently I'm the vice president, and it really helped me, in short, just like develop this love for curiosity and that it's never too late to start building or wanting to create something. So I really joined Upskill with this admiration for like how Wellesley people around me are so ambitious and they want to do so much. And I personally, when I joined Wellesley, I had so many ideas and I still have so many ideas, and I never like feeling boxed. So I feel like Upskill is a perfect way for you to sort of get a head start as to like what could work for you, whether it's entrepreneurship, investment banking, or like the other tracks that we're going to get into. But for me, entrepreneurship was my favorite one, mainly because I walked in not knowing a single thing about entrepreneurship. And as I mentioned, I do have a minor in econ. But at the same time, the thing with entrepreneurship is there's so much to it that it gets overwhelming as to how you can get started. And we all know that the Wellesley network is there and like how you have like so many mentors on campus, but the first initiation stage is the hardest one, which I feel like Upskill really accelerated for me and made it so simple that I didn't fear voicing out like an idea that I could possibly have at the end of the program. And another fun thing that this program really allowed us to do was go to the Rue Institute. It was in Portland and the weather was really cold, but it was so nice to interact with so many early stage startups. And it's only when you talk to so many people who have like varying interests that you get to understand or like even envision that you can also do the same. So the program in itself was led by an amazing Wellesley alum who has her own bakery in, I believe it's in Boston, and we got to even have it at the end. But her name's Beth, and she was just amazing when it came to ideation versus us putting up a pitch competition towards the end. So my team and I, like, we were paired in teams, but essentially what the takeaway from that team building activity was that not only did we know how to market ourselves, but we also knew like how to identify the pain point. And the thing with studying at Wellesley is you're surrounded by perfectionists all over. But the best part about the program was that you were taught to like let go of that perfectionism mindset, especially when it comes to thinking broadly and thinking what could really inspire people and myself when it comes to creating a project or a startup, and like learning to make mistakes. And I feel like that mindset in itself really allowed me to put myself on like bigger platforms, because I went to the next semester in like an engineering leadership program at MIT, and I feel like I could really advocate for myself only because the skill set that I took from Upskill sort of helped me advance into that. So I think if I had to describe it in a sentence, I know I talk too much, but it would be that it really helped me sort of, I guess, talk about myself more confidently and like my ideas without feeling too small or feeling like I didn't deserve to be in a room full of people. And I know that's a little cliche, but when it comes to entering the startup world where you're like surrounded by so many innovators and so many bright minds, like you really need to vouch for yourself and really need to see like the light in you. And I feel like such a space is really important, whether you're a first year, sophomore, or a junior or a senior. I think everyone should go through this path just to realize that you can also do it. So thank you.
That was so thoughtful. Thank you, Maha. All right. So next.
All right, we're going to shift into another track here. So luckily enough, you'll get to hear from Maha once again in just a moment. But so this one will be focused on the software development lifecycle. Bit of a mouthful as a name, but I want to be really clear why sort of we're looking at this. We've had the same alum. It's actually been instructing it for the last couple of years. And really, a couple of things. Number one, it's not a coding boot camp. So you will just by the nature of having to, engage with your coding skills, you'll see that you must have completed CS 230 there as a prerequisite for this track. Primary reason for that is that you really do have to have an understanding of data structures when you come into it. But the real thrust of it is going to be focused on how do you use GitHub, really from conception of an idea all the way, through however far you can get in the execution, and really thinking about it as a tool to like to show your work, so that you're thinking about what you've been up to and all the steps and sort of the README file, things that I only kind of know what they mean because I can use dictionaries and the internet, but don't actually know from doing it. But that's okay. That's why I bring in fabulous alum and all of you that have your experience in coding. So it's really a way so that you can more about how you can showcase your coding ability, how you can showcase your skill set, and really giving you a taste of what that entire life cycle is like. So you'll have that project development, work on having alum and possibly even some corporate partners engage. We're still working on some bits and pieces there, have access to a little bit of technical interview prep, and then of course thinking about not just how you engage with and put the project there in GitHub, but how we think about how that represents, I guess, in your paper or one-page resume, if you will, and sort of all the skills and the components that go into thinking about the tech recruiting process. So we cover quite a bit of ground, and I'll hand it over to Maha.
Hi again. So as I mentioned, I am a CS major. So I jumped into Upskill the first time doing the software development program. And the reason why I wanted to really get a hands-on experience in this was because, as we all know, for any CS tech role, you want to have like personal projects. And I feel like within the classes that we are meant to take for our majors, we're only sort of working towards like weekly assignments or like projects that don't really get that much time to sort of put on our portfolio. So I feel like this was a really good way for us to not only put stuff on our resume, but also like get feedback throughout, which again, if you're working on a personal project, you don't get to have. And again, a really cool thing that came out of this was actually we got to talk to so many alums, and I even remember getting 2 referrals from the alums that we had these panel talks with over Zoom. And the project that I created, I can share a little bit about it as well. I created with two lovely members this Apple Watch sleep analytical tool, which would take your sleeping data and like try to understand how many times would you be in like deep sleep versus not so deep sleep, and then how to use all of that data to sort of improve your sleeping patterns. And you sort of have like a lot of you sort of have like complete independence to choose any topic of your choice. But the best part about this particular route is, sorry, my voice is going, would be that you get a guidebook, which again, you usually wouldn't get in like a CS program, which is super helpful. I didn't know how to use Git. I didn't know how to use a lot of the things that were introduced to me. But again, like if you haven't been familiarized with GitHub, it's like overwhelming to start on your own. But the fact that Michelle was so nice, the fact that Michelle was so helpful through and through was really helpful for me, because I couldn't even work the terminal at first because I was just so nervous. But at the end of the program, I remember I was like asking questions all around. And even now, like I remember 3 months later, I reached out to Michelle, and I was so happy that I could get a prompt response. So you really get to build a network with alums, with the instructor, with like your peers, and it helps you in like further classes that you take at Wellesley. And again, the added confidence that comes with doing such an accelerated program, like it is going to be tiring, it is going to be a little time consuming, but you're really sort of advancing your skills, and you're getting a true sense of what an internship could be like if you're sort of applying in the summer cycle. And it's a good thing to add to your resume, but it's also a helpful way for you to sort of understand what topics interest you projects wise, but also what skills you want to really brush up on after the program ends. So yeah.
Great. And
Oh,
just as a reminder, it also shows that you can do multiple tracks and really
yeah.
explore sort of different areas of your career interest and your trajectory. Sorry, go ahead, Maha.
I wanted to add, we went to Microsoft, and I was so excited because we got to interact with their PMs, like project managers, product managers, and like their software engineers. And a cool fact was that they gave us like a lovely brunch, but also they allowed us to connect with all their senior like members. And I even remember two people referred me for an internship, and then they did a very personalized LinkedIn workshop, which again, I didn't know how to like traverse through LinkedIn and how to like personalize it on my own. So the fact that they had like these professionals come in and like really help you from like stage 1 to stage 10 was like a really cool thing that I got out of. So yeah, now my LinkedIn is like Microsoft approved.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. All right, next track to talk about is the medical professions. So this track is for anyone who is looking forward to exploring positions that might be facing like patient-facing careers, like doctor, PA, a nurse, those kinds of things. It is just like the other tracks, in-person, intensive, like it says. You'll be on the Harvard campus. It is with the med science program, and so participants who do this get to really get some fun simulation activities, and you get to like either sometimes they have like simulations that you do like a delivery of a baby, or maybe you simulate you learn how to do CPR and things like that. The other piece of it is, oh yeah, so you can see that in the picture that Christopher's showing you. So you're going to build some skills for sure. Clinical skills, you'll be able to apply some of the things that you're learning here during school, applying the critical thinking, your communication, your problem solving, all these things that, that we are doing academically on campus, you're taking those off campus. So that's a really great perspective. And yeah, you get to, look at all these different tracks and talk to people while you're there. You'll spend the whole day there. So it's really nice to be able to interact with all the different people that work in the hospital. Is there anything else, Christopher, that we should mention on that one?
Thank you. Got it. So HMS Med Science is a structured program that they do. They started, I think, 10, 12 years ago with high school students and have since moved on to engaging with colleges and universities. I think we're like the third one to engage. You can learn more about it if you sort of search for it on the internet. You can get to their website, and you can kind of see if you want to see a little bit more. You won't do the full breadth of the program that you see on the website. We pared it down to make it work for 4 days, but you kind of see a little bit more and kind of looking, also just adding a little bit of words here so you can see the really cool pictures of what they were doing last year, which is very cool. I've been in the lab, I've been in those simulation rooms myself, and they're very cool. So anything in the health professions, this is the track for you.
Okay.
And next one here is our journalism track. So this will be the second year with journalism. If you happen to hear from or talk from any student who did it last year they were in Washington, D.C. at an external organization that might be coming back in future years, but this year will be on campus. And our advisor who's running is lining up a really fantastic group of alum who are in different areas of journalism to work with students over the course of the week. And it's really designed to focus on investigative journalism and really what goes into, as it says here, really the art and science of all that investigative work, right? There's the mechanics of it, but then there's how do you, again, find, engage with, interview all of the people. How do you pull the pieces together when you have the narrative, you have the visuals, you might have audio or video if that's the world that you're stepping into over time, and really thinking about how you craft both a compelling narrative and story, but also delivering, with journalistic integrity and intent, which is really important. And it's a lot of important, valuable work. A couple caveats here. It is only open to juniors and seniors. There is no limit on majors, and you don't have to have any prior experience in journalism, just interest in it. You'll notice that's a key along all of these is that you just have to be interested in the content we are covering over the week. So you really work collaboratively across the group as a part of it. You'll really get some hands-on experience with different components of it. So it won't just be like summarizing other journalistic work. You'll actually be doing some of that yourself, including writing, editing, and some help with research. We'll also be getting some support from the Wagner Center's researchers as well, so you'll get some support to work on that. And it may include print, audio, and video mediums. Again, we're really still piecing this one together. It'll be on campus. We have some fantastic alum laid out, a couple more that even are on the screen here that I won't ruin that for you. You have to be a surprise when you join in it. So hopefully, if you have an interest in journalism on any level, that you sign up for the journalism track. And this was last year when they were down in DC. And our final track here that we'll mention for tonight is actually a brand new one that is still, as of this week, still being finalized in all the different components and really looking at this idea of AI for social impact. So I think the way to think about this as well is this is a step removed from the technical skills of building any sort of AI model, tool, software, anything of that nature. There'll be some small components of understanding kind of some of the definitions of what do we actually mean by AI, of course, some basic understanding of some of the mechanics behind it. But this one wouldn't be set up to thinking about, I have a coding background and I want to learn how to build a model or build a tool or build something. It's more about the implementation of the various tools. And again, we're really kind of packing a lot of the term AI because you have to unpack that quite a bit to see how that might impact across industries, across your given industry, and then across different industries, with the real focus on trying to think about how you can drive change using it and trying to keep your eye on the possibilities with it and the importance of doing that in an ethical manner. There's absolutely no technology prerequisites, whether that's hands-on with anything or coding or anything of that side of things, not necessary at all. You also don't have to have any previous experience with AI in any way, shape, or form. Again, the idea is that you have to be interested in it. That's the key component of it. So really anyone who's interested across any major, any career field you're interested in. So all majors and all years are welcome as well. We're still building out the content on this one a little bit more. So if you have any questions, you'll see an email address at the end. Just send me over an email and we can certainly help follow up with any questions or concerns you have there. And just so you know, this one's also being built up by our executive director and the associate provost for career education, experiential learning, Jen Pollard. So you got a great person, a great mind behind this one. It's going to be pretty fascinating. So we'll kind of wrap up here in just a minute. So some important things to know about the commitment for Upskill. So There will be a daily schedule for the entire time that you're expected to be there. It is going to be a full day each day that you're on campus. So just kind of know that you really won't have time for additional outside commitments during those 4 days. You'll be pretty steeped in the work because, as you've seen from the descriptions and heard from some of the students from past years, they're very intense and they're very ambitious. And so you really do get to get a lot in those 4 days, but it does require to be, to be present, to be there. Doesn't mean emergencies can't happen in your life. Hopefully, nothing does like that happens, but otherwise, you should plan on committing all 4 days, 4 full days to the program. For that reason, it's not open to students who have winter session classes or are in the Clinton Fellows Winter Lab. Again, just the amount of time for your class, for the winter lab, and for upskill, they just won't cross. You won't be able to put the time and attention towards them. And then we will do a bit of a deep dive after we know who is going to be attending later in the semester. So those students that will be selected to attend all the tracks, there'll be a session on December 11th, and you'll be expected to attend that as well to get an idea of any things that you have to do ahead of time, just kind of make sure everybody is up to speed. The application process, so that will be live shortly, or by the time you're watching this recording, it's already live because we're in the past and you're in the future. So it's a pretty straightforward application. We're not asking for a resume or a cover letter to be uploaded. There are a series of questions you need to answer. Key piece there is answer them truthfully, intentionally, and really, again, express your unique interest and drive for wanting to be a part of any one of these programs. If you need help building out your application, just make an appointment with us. On the next slide that we'll go over sort of what the timeline is for the application window. As long as you get it in the window, your application will be reviewed and you'll be considered to the fullest. So if you feel like you need a couple of days to work on it and maybe make an appointment, 100% take those couple of days, put the time and energy into it. Come to a drop-in, make an appointment to do some work on it. It's not going to hurt the competitiveness of your application. We're not going to say, oh, well, Christopher Way didn't tell October 2nd, so we can't actually read his application. It's not the case. You get it in before the actual deadline, we will read it. So we really want to encourage you to focus on the quality of your application, not the speed of turning it around. And as I mentioned, all the tracks are competitive, so it is really important that you put that time and energy and effort into it. Hilda, other things that we need to know?
I was just thinking the question had come up, and I think I'm going to bring it up because it's related to the slide. So we do say, to not overcommit during the days of the actual week. So if you're taking winter session, make sure you make a decision on what you're going to do, either that or this, or the Clinton Fellows Winter Lab, because it's, again, overlapping. However, the question came up, Christopher, around Embark. Embark happens that weekend, yes?
Yes.
So could they do both in a year?
So for first year students, yes, I believe you could do both because this will wrap on Friday and Embark really starts the following Saturday. Know that it makes for a very busy week. You will be pretty tired by the time courses start for the spring semester, but the timing as of this year will work. I'm just fine that you'll wrap and then the following day you'll jump into Embark. What is Embark, you ask? That is a different session, an entire different thing. But if you're a first year listening to this, we encourage you to look up Embark. Keep your eye out for emails from Ariane Baker and all of our marketing across campus.
Thank you for that. I figured we're on that slide. Okay. No, I think everything else is like the application, straightforward. And if anyone has questions, for sure, we're happy to help. Okay, so application timelines. So as Christopher mentioned, the application opens after we close out this info session, and the deadline is October 2nd. So that gives you a few days to actually get it done. And if you need help, like I said, it has enough time so you can do things at your own pace. And then we'll notify you in like that mid-late October timeframe. And then we will ask for a commitment pretty soon thereafter. The only thing that I learned from last year that I'll share with you guys is I do know that some folks that are international will start to look at tickets to go back for the holidays and to come back on campus for the spring semester. And I would just say, you know, wait as long as you can so that you can sort of have this information in your pocket, so that you can make it back in time to do this, if this is something that you'd like to do.
Great. And you're likely watching this streaming from the Upskill webpage. So if you want, you can also scroll down after the video cuts off and you'll see all the contact information. These are the leads for each of the tracks. So if you have any specific questions that weren't answered by our fantastic students, by the info provided in each slide or the FAQs that are on the Upskill website towards the bottom of the page, please feel free to send a message over to the track lead that you see on the slide here or further down the page. We'd be happy to answer any questions, and we look forward to reading your applications. Any questions, whether you want to unmute yourself or put it in the chat box before we wrap for the evening? All right, I guess that about does it. I just imagine you're over there refreshing the page right now, seeing is the application live so I can start working on it because you're so excited. So as I said, we look forward to reading your applications and having another fantastic Upskill 2026. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Thanks, Hilda.
You're welcome.